Hello, everybody. I think we're live. Hello, guys. Where are you guys? Are you in with us? Have you joined? Are you here? Where is everybody? So we'll give people some room to come on. And then we'll take it from there. Take it from there.
Dr. Kingsley, where are you today? Are you in the UK?
Yeah, I'm in Houston.
Oh, in Houston. Okay,
I'm in
nice.
Houston. Yeah, I'm in Houston. I think you guys are you an hour ahead of me or behind?
Yeah. Toronto, I think we're an hour ahead.
Yeah, okay. So that means it's 4 p.m. your time, it's 3 p.m. my time.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Not too bad.
All right, welcome everybody. Bayo, how are you doing? Bayo, what city are you in? Welcome everybody. Good to see you guys. Please send reminders to people, you know, send reminders to people to come up. Hello, everybody. Oh, Zambia, how are you doing? Musanga, hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Obaya from Akure, Ondo State. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Let me know where you are watching from. Greatness from Abuja. That's good. That's good. Rwanda, how are you doing? From Rwanda, Iroke Benita. Hello, Chris Chisom. How are you doing? Fortune, how are you doing? Everybody, please just let me know the city you're watching from. While you're doing that, please also send reminders to your people. Let them come. Oh, from Kumasi, Ghana, Emmanuel, welcome, welcome. Uh, from Canada, Maria from Canada.
Go Canadians. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yawa from France. Dijat. Yawa Dijat. Yeah, Dijat, are you aware of our Europe tour though? Hope you are aware of the Europe tour. Sheon from London, I see you. Abba, blessing from Abba, how are you doing? Oh, I see Zimbabwe as well. Taraba State, I see you. Faithful from Zimbabwe, yeah. Will the recording be made available? Hedge Connect. I think so, yes. Hedge, where are you watching from? Delta, I see you. Addlestone, UK. Never heard of that. Addlestone. Never heard of that. Blessing from Lagos, I see you. All right, guys. Rep your city and please quickly go and send reminders to anybody you know that will need this meeting. Let them come up to attend. Help us put it on your status, put it on your stories, make some awareness about it, and all that. So, welcome everybody. Thank you. All right. Today I have um, a good friend of mine in the house. I'm gonna let him introduce himself when we're about to start. But I want us to get more people in the room first. So please go. Let people know whether it's Instagram, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook. Let everybody know. Yes, and Sharon from Canada. Sharon, what city in Canada? Julia from Namibia. I see you. Zero Gravity, Nottingham, UK. I like that name, Zero Gravity. That's a good name. Oh, Sharon, you're from Edmonton. Oh, yeah. Sharon, were you in the meeting I did in Edmonton some years ago? Did you attend? Spike says, hope we're allowed to ask questions. Absolutely, you will be allowed. What city are you in? Spikes. Spike speaks. What city are you in? All right. Michael Musa from UK, see you. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kick off. Today we're talking about what nobody tells you about pornography. We'll talk about pornography generally. And I have my good friend in the house, Satya. So Satya, say hello to everybody and tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, hey everybody. It's an honor to be here. Anytime I can get a chance to partner with Dr. Kingsley, I'm always on board. He's absolutely incredible. He's brought a lot of value to my communities, my audiences, which really center around what we're talking about today. So my story starts as a little boy. I grew up in a pastor's home, went to Christian school. That's where I was exposed to pornography, actually, was in the computer lab. Back in the day, Dr. Kingsley, when they had computer labs in schools, you remember those
Yes.
days? Um, so that's where my first exposure happened. And it set me on a really dark path. You know, I kind of lived two lives.
So
I
you said it
was
was in a Christian school?
Christian school. Yeah, Christian school. Friend came up to me, told me to go check out this website and sounded innocent. That's kind of where it all started.
Wow.
So, I was not the rebel child. I actually lived on the outside. It looked like I was doing everything right. You know, I was involved in worship teams and involved in churches, youth group, all that kind of stuff. But as time went on in high school, university, into my 20s, pornography followed me, and it almost ruined my life. I almost lost everything because of it. And it also kept me very single. You know, pornography was easier than pursuing a woman. It was easier than risking rejection. It was an easier way to cope, and so I stayed single for a really long time. Um, and I had a moment. I was very studious, so I had, you know, tons of money thrown at me to do research in university. So I was studying in the labs. I was working on my degree, and that's actually where I really committed my life to Jesus. Because you know how you can grow up in the church, but you
Yes.
have to make a decision at some point for yourself, right? So that happened for me in university, and I knew that I wanted to live for the Lord, and I knew the first order of business was to get rid of pornography. And I thought that I would just, you know, muster up a little bit of
So
self-control. Go
hold
ahead.
on, please. I'm trying for me not to break your line of thought too much, but
No, it's fine.
why did you think you needed to end pornography?
Okay, that's a good question. So because I think even from the first day that I got exposed to pornography, I knew it was wrong. And
Mm,
so I always had a conviction, but as time went on, the conviction got a bit quieter. You know how if you
mhm.
ignore the Holy Spirit long enough, eventually he kind of
Yes.
stops talking.
Yes.
So I sort of, in my head, I always thought one day I can quit. It's not that big of a deal. Like I had all of the classic kind of addict language, and I really didn't think I had an addiction. If you asked me, hey, are you addicted to pornography? I would say no. You know, maybe if it was the right person, I would say I have a struggle with it. I have an issue. But once I gave my life to Jesus, once my heart was open again and the Holy Spirit was active in my life again, the conviction was, you know, it was right there. I couldn't ignore it even if I wanted to. So so that's kind of where really the work I do now began, because I went online, I looked at all the information on how to quit, and they said install an internet filter, get an accountability partner, confess your sins that you may be healed. So I followed all the advice, and I talked to trusted counselors and leaders. And like I said, I thought with enough willpower, enough self-control, I should be able to take care of this thing, no problem. And the longest I could ever go without pornography was about 7 days. So that doesn't really sound like the freedom in Christ that we're promised in the Bible. I thought that for sure this would just be out of my life, no problem. But I'm talking about now for 3 years. I'm trying everything I just mentioned. I'm counting streaks. I'm trying to set New Year's resolutions. I mean, I'm doing it all, trying to quit pornography, and nothing's really working for me. So I have two prayers. I kind of reach a bit of a breaking point where it's like, God, I'm trying. This is not from a lack of effort. And I have two prayers. Number one, whoever my future wife is, keep her from me until I'm ready. Because I could see how much this was ruining my life. And I actually, one day, Dr. Kingsley, I think you'll appreciate this because I know you work with people in relationships. One day as a single guy, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, he's kind of like a mentor, like a big brother. And I said, man, I can't wait until I'm married one day. I'll be having sex regularly, and I won't struggle with pornography anymore. And he almost reached across the table and wanted to smack me. He was so mad. And he said, that's not how it works. He said, marriage is a magnifier. If it's a problem now, it's going to be a bigger problem later. And so I trusted him. I really trusted him. So I believed him. I said, okay, God, if that's true, then whoever my future wife is, keep her from me until I'm ready. And the second thing I prayed was, if you help me figure this out for myself, I'll do everything in my power to help as many other people as possible figure it out for them as well. And so that's really where this journey began. It still took another 2 years, and what we've titled our time together today is the things that no one tells you about pornography. Those are the things I learned over the next 2 years. They were the things that no one was talking about. No one in the church, no one really even outside of the church was talking about it. And those are the things that I had to start to use in my own life to get free. February 2016 was the last time I ever viewed pornography. November 2016, 9 months later, I met Shaloma, who is now my wife. And so God answered my first prayer, and He kept her from me until I was ready. And we've been married for 6.5 years. We have two boys. And if you're doing the math, February means that means that last month, February 2026 marked 10 years. So I've been clean of pornography for 10 years. And in 2018, about 2.5 years after I'd been clean of pornography, God put it on my heart to start Deep Clean, which is now my ministry that helps men. We've helped thousands of men around the world. I personally coach 1,000 men free of pornography, and we reach many, many more than that every single day. And so that's kind of why I do what I do. It's why I'm passionate. And that was my second prayer was, God, if you help me figure this out, then let's help other people get free. And that's what we're all about. And that's why I'm super excited to be here with you guys today.
Okay, amazing, amazing. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that? That was a good beginning, and it was from Christian home. In fact, got exposed to pornography even in a Christian school. You said at one point that you almost lost everything. So go a bit more into some of those details. What are the things that was happening?
So yeah, I mean, when you're in, so I was working an associate pastor. I had released a worship album that was gaining lots of traction. It was played on radio. I had an invitation to go to Europe and do a tour. And so what was happening is, as an addiction gets worse in someone's life, you start to take more risks to get the hit, to get the thing. And so it was starting to interfere with my responsibilities, to cope with all the stress and all the pressure. Pornography is what I went to. And so I would guess, Dr. Kingsley, if it stayed in my life for probably another year or two, I would have been removed from my ministry position, and I probably would have lost all the opportunities I was getting to lead worship and everything else. So that was the big thing. But then it was also keeping me single, because I really I felt like it created a block in me, a little bit of like a hard heart. And so those are the biggest things in my life. I wanted to marry somebody. I wanted to grow in the things God had called me to. And I think the other thing that was really affected was my relationship with God. So as much as I was, serious and committed to the Lord and working in ministry, there was this sin constantly lingering, this shame constantly lingering over my life, and I felt like, yeah, everything was just pushing me away from God and the things that God had for my life.
Okay, so tell us a bit about some of the maybe the impacts of pornography or any direction you feel like going, whether you want to give us the statistics and the data, of this or the impact, just feel free to flow.
Yeah, so I mean, the pornography industry is $100 billion industry, and th that number does not include like OnlyFans and some of the new markets that have kind of emerged the last little bit. Um, the average age of first exposure today is reported to be as young as 8 years old. So I'd actually love to hear in the chat, how old were you when you were first exposed? I would guess most people would probably put anywhere from 10 to 12, 10 to 13 years old. That's kind of typical. I was 11 years old. Let me know in the chat, how old were you when you were first exposed? The age now, though, is 8 years old. So it's happening younger and younger. About 35 to 40% of all traffic online is pornography related. Somebody's
Wow.
downloading something, streaming something, watching something, or in a chat room. Um, so those are some of the stats that I think help people realize this is pretty serious. They did a cross-sectional study of couples about this is probably about 8, 10 years ago now. They found that 56% of divorces were caused by the partner's porn use. That was one of the reasons. It was one of the top, I think, top two or top three reasons was the partner's porn use. So, everybody talks about how the divorce rate is so high. And there's lots of things that you can do, obviously, to
Mhm.
reduce the divorce rate. Eliminating pornography is right up there. It literally stacks the odds against your marriage when you view pornography. Um, I think that the most important thing for people to understand when you talk about the research and the data is, well, you get exposed at a young age. So you can see the ages coming through here in the chat now, right? 13 years, 12 years old. So everyone's very young. They call it, you're hyperplastic. Your body and your brain learn very quickly. Sexual stimulation is processed 20% faster by the brain and body than any other form. So if at 11 years old you got an exposure to a drug, you took a drug or you watched pornography, the pornography is going to hardwire into your brain and body faster. Now, the reason this matters is not because of your life as an 11-year-old or a 13-year-old or an 8-year-old, but what's happening now, and Dr. Kingsley, I bet you hear this all the time, uh, grown men in their 20s, men in their 30s are experiencing erectile dysfunction at about 30 to 35%. And this same demographic 20 years ago, 25 years ago, the rate was 5%. So you're talking about a 600% increase, and pornography is the main reason. Pornography is rewiring our brains and bodies to experience, perfect stimulation, these perfect hyper-produced videos and models that a real life experience rather cannot match up to. And so you're seeing people with really poor relationship quality, low sexual satisfaction. In this case, the body is actually not responding or it's being
Okay,
affected.
please talk a bit about that erectile dysfunction part. I think that's one of the
Yeah.
areas most people don't know. Also, in our practice in counseling, we've seen very young couples, young man, and he cannot, have sex with his wife because he can't get it.
Yes.
He can't get it up because of porn addiction. So I want you to talk a bit about that before you move on to the other things.
Okay. So God's design is that a sexual experience with your spouse is meant to be a 10 out of 10 experience. As in, it's the most sexual stimulation you could ever experience. That's our design. That's how we're born. It's how God hardwires us. Pornography is what they call a super normal stimulus. So the level of stimulation is beyond what our bodies are used to or even wired for.
Mm,
So when you first watch pornography, again, if everybody were to share their stories, if you watch a little bit of pornography when you first get exposed, it's very minor, it's very soft typically, and so that pornography is maybe like an 11 or a 12. But as you watch it more, and I'll use my own story, I started to watch more intense content, more graphic content, more obscure, more kind of niche content. So now it's a 13, it's a 15, it's an 18, it's a 20. And so your body gets used to this level 18, level 20 stimulation over and over again. And that number goes higher and higher the more you watch. This is the addiction model. This is how our brains change. So then you change the scale of your body. Instead of your body being on a 0 to 10, it's now on a 0 to 20. And so you continue to watch pornography, you continue to get your 20 out of 20 experience, and then you go to experience sex with a real person. And the reason that these couples are coming to Dr. Kingsley with sexual issues is because, as great as that marriage might be, as amazing as that partner might be, and even though there might be physical attraction and sexual chemistry, it's only a 10. It's only a 10. That's all a real life experience can be. And so it's a 10, which was supposed to be perfect. That's supposed to be the 10 out of 10 experience. But now the scale has changed. It's out of 20. And so it's a 10 out of 20. And so the body doesn't respond. It doesn't get that arousal response the way that it was meant to, because pornography has changed the scale. It's altered the programming of the body of the man and of the woman. Women are experiencing this as well.
mm. Okay,
Does that
go
make sense?
ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what happens then is you get low relationship quality, so you increase your rates of divorce. You get spiritual disconnection and shame, and so people lose connection from the one source that they actually need to experience freedom.
Mm,
And then Now what's happening today is people are isolating. And so shame is the voice that tells you to hide, don't let anybody know. If you get discovered, you'll be judged, you'll be rejected. And so
Mm,
people are very lonely, and this loneliness is the major tactic of the enemy. The enemy works overtime to keep us alone and isolated because that's how we stay hidden in the darkness. Right? It's when things come to light that we can actually walk in transformation, walk in healing. And so the enemy works to keep us isolated. And this I don't have specific data, but if you ask people, do you feel lonely? Have you felt alone in the last week or the last month? Everybody raises their hand. And so with an issue as private and as taboo as pornography use, once people are isolated, then they stay stuck for many, many years. I ran a master class last week, and I had a guy come on and share he's been clean of pornography for 7 months after struggling with porn for 48 years. So this is
okay.
what happened, right? You think it's innocent, you're 11 years old. This guy's in his 60s now. He's in his 60s.
Wow.
He was hooking up with people online for 20 years. Like, I mean, everything eventually starts to escalate and scale if it stays long enough. And we're going to get to this, obviously. It doesn't have to stay this way. And this guy was a great example of that. But yeah, it can get pretty bad if it stays in your life long enough.
Wow. That's so it's not like age will make it better. It can actually make it worse.
It does. Yeah, it always does. I don't know anybody who got exposed to at a young age and said, yeah, as time went on, it eventually just got better. It is so addictive that it only gets worse. It only increases in your life.
Hmm. So, but does pornography always go together with masturbation?
I would say almost always. Yeah, I think most people, certainly the people that we work with that are part of our deep clean community, they are typically struggling with both. Generally, though, they struggle with one more than the other. So I would say they often are hand in hand. And sometimes people will ask, like, I've gotten pornography out of my life, but I'm still masturbating. So is the solution different? Does it look different? Is that as bad? For us, it's all the same. It doesn't really matter what your compulsive sexual behavior is. If it's there, then there's healing to be done, and the methods and the process is more or less the same.
Hmm. Okay, but go ahead if you have other things you want to share about it. Feel free to go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, I think in this space, like a couple things that I would love for people to hear. I think number one, um, most of the things that we hear in the church, like install an internet filter, or get an accountability partner, or even to just muster up self-control and pray it away. These things generally don't work. And the reason they don't work is because these are surface level solutions. This is kind of like running over a weed with a lawnmower. And so if you feel like you're that person where I put all this work in, all this time, all this energy, I put in all this effort, and I'm not getting the results I want, I can almost guarantee you that the main reason you're not getting the results you want is because you're running over this weed with surface level solutions. And if you really want to remove a weed from your life, from your heart, from your garden, you have to get to the roots. Romans 11:16, one of my favorite verses, says, if the roots of the tree are holy, the branches will be holy
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
If the roots of the tree are holy. So we have to do this thing at a root level, the heart of the individual. That's where real freedom comes. And I think this is where people are very confused. This is where people don't understand that maybe they even hear that metaphor and they go, yes, that makes sense. But no one's really talking about how you actually get to the roots of the issue. So I think this is a really important thing that I want to make sure your audience understands, Dr. Kingsley. Another thing that's very important, okay? So if you a lot of you are watching on YouTube. If you were to go on YouTube, how to heal your brain or heal from porn, almost all of the content you find is about rewiring your brain. So here's the problem with rewiring your brain. Now, I did university research for 4 years. I am a big believer in the neuroscience and rewiring your brain. But we have to really think about what we're actually after when we're trying to rewire a brain, or even when we're trying to install an internet filter or that kind of thing. All right, let's think about this. So you watch pornography, right? So what does pornography tell you? Pornography tells you you can get a reward without earning it,
Hmm.
right? You can get a really intense, pleasurable sexual experience without having to do any of the work that would traditionally be required, to find a mate, get a partner, get
Build a
married, all of
relationship.
that. Yeah, exactly. So pornography says, hey, you can bypass all of that. You can get this amazing reward without any effort. And so our brains become very, very programmed to get quick results as fast and as painlessly as possible. And this starts to translate into finances. So a lot of people that struggle with pornography eventually find themselves in debt because it's the same thing. They chase the get rich quick schemes, they want the quick reward, they don't have any sense of delaying gratification or earning things. It's same in their spiritual relationship, their fitness, et cetera, et cetera. So when you go, I'm going to rewire my brain from pornography, and people go, I want to rewire my brain as quickly as possible. They want the 3-day reset, the 7-day detox, whatever it is. That's literally the exact same programming that got you addicted to porn in the first place. It's
Yeah.
how do I get this thing as quickly as possible? So, like one of the reasons I love working with Dr. Kingsley is Dr. Kingsley understands there's a process, and that maturity and sanctification actually take time. But if you spend your time and your energy doing the right things, the things that actually get to the roots of the issues, like we were
Yeah.
talking about a minute ago, then it doesn't take forever. It doesn't even necessarily take years. In a matter of weeks or even months, your life can look very different. But you have to get to the roots of the issue, and you have to be willing to delay gratification, to embrace the process. And I think for me, even if I'm being honest, the first 3 years I tried to quit pornography, I was so guilty of this. I just wanted something quick. I wanted the New Year's resolution. I wanted to kind of quit cold turkey and just do a quick reset. Even like during Lent, I would fast pornography, and then Lent would finish and I'd get back on it. So if you really want lasting change, you have to be willing to transform things at the heart. And I think that's the thing that people are really missing in this. I'll talk about one more thing, Dr. Kingsley, and then I'd love for you can interrupt me or direct me where you want. Another thing that people do is they count streaks. So, they try to hit 30 days or 60 days, and people think if they hit some magical number, all of a sudden their life is going to be dramatically different. All of a sudden pornography will magically disappear. So the problem with counting streaks is anybody can muster up enough willpower for 30 days or 60 days. But if we're talking about actually changing the heart, the streaks don't really matter. So what we do with our clients is because I'm an analytical guy, I like the numbers. And so I always tell them if you're into numbers and you feel like you need some metric to pay attention to, don't count streaks, track trends. Okay, so I'll give you a client example. We had a guy come to us. He's struggling with pornography almost every day. He doesn't know how to really go without it. So he starts our program, and month number one, he slips. We have him track every day. Were you clean? Yes or no? Were you clean? Yes or no? So month number one, he slips 23 times. He has 23 days that were not clean. So that's not very good, right? That's not a good start.
Mhm.
But if you're willing to embrace a bit of a process, something could change with a little bit more effort, a bit more time. So we told him, just continue, keep doing what you're doing, stay plugged in. We're gonna guide you. Okay, month number two, 18 days where he struggled. So the trend is going in the right direction. Now, if you're counting streaks, this is a huge failure. You have to reset. It's back to ground zero. But for him, he understood, okay, the bigger trend is moving in the right direction. He's doing the right things to change his heart. Month number three, 8. Month number four, 5. And so you can see if we zoom out, everything's moving in the right direction. He just had to be patient enough. By month 6, he's 0, and now he's been clean for years. So this is what I'm talking about. When you actually go to the root of the issue, when you're willing to address things at a heart level, this is what things start to look like. Things can change dramatically for you. It just takes a little bit of time. And if you're willing to go a little bit deeper than an internet filter, go a little bit deeper than just counting streaks, things can look pretty different for you and not in a lot of time, really in a matter of weeks or even months.
Mm. Wow, that's serious. One of the areas, for me that I try to push a lot that young people don't understand, especially in my country, because the economy here is a bit tough. So people are not getting married as early as they used to.
Mm.
And what this means is that they are many of them are forced. Yes, some are spiritually mature, so maybe they can just be disciplined, but many others are having to use other means to satisfy their natural desires which which those desires are natural. God expects that at a certain age, you should be settled down or you should be married, and be able to meet those needs the right way. But being single and with the way the world is now, because in the days when we were young, for you to get access to pornography, you had to go through a lot of hoops and do a lot
Yeah.
of things to get access to pornography. But today is literally just accessible to every single, like you mentioned your story, you had to go to this science or to the lab, you
Yeah.
know. But now nobody needs to do that. Everybody anywhere can get access to pornography at the speed of a second right on their phone. So,
Yeah.
I feel the young people are kind of set up to fail
Yeah. Can I
because,
comment on that?
yes, go ahead.
So they say that pornography is the three A's, Dr. Kingsley.
Mm.
It's affordable, accessible, and anonymous. And
Wow.
that's different than any other drug, right? If you think about even something like cocaine, which
Yes,
people have made comparisons. Cocaine is actually very expensive. It's not
yes,
affordable.
it's not affordable.
Um, it might be accessible, but it's not as accessible as the phone in your
Yes,
pocket,
because sometimes you have
right?
to risk your life to actually go and get
Exactly. And it's never anonymous. There's always at least one other person involved to make the deal happen,
it.
right?
Yeah.
So, and then, if you go to something like lighter, like an alcohol addiction, not to compare addictions here, but again, it just doesn't have those same qualities that
Yes.
pornography does. And so, what you're touching on is very, very important.
Wow, that is powerful. I want somebody to write those three A's in the comment section. I think that was a good one. The three A's of pornography. It's affordable,
Yes.
it's
Accessible.
accessible, and it's anonymous. Wow,
Mm.
that is so serious. Someone should write that down. That is serious. I want to see that in the comment section. So as I was saying, um, so it's as if the young people are set up to fail because they have this temptation is you know flowing towards them, even on invited. If you just open your phone, sometimes they just
Yeah.
bombard you with those things. People are posting all kinds of things. Somebody is posting or sending you something. Even
Hmm.
movies and co have stronger content, sexual content. So the young people, usually a lot of them now can't afford to get married as early as they want to, but
Yeah.
they are also being bombarded with this sexual content from
Yes.
every angle. So a lot of them, like you mentioned, is way easier to use pornography to satisfy yourself because you're getting the reward of intense sexual satisfaction
Hmm.
without taking anybody on a date, without getting married, without building courtship or building friendship or
Yeah.
phone calls or nothing. You just jump from 0 to 100. So by the time they build this lifestyle, it causes an incredible lack of motivation to even
Mm.
seek companionship or seek marriage.
Hmm.
Because I know one of the major drives for men in particular in marriage is to meet that sexual need.
Yeah.
So by the time you have short circuited and found a shortcut to getting it, I've discovered a lot of men lose motivation to even go after a girl, to even look for a wife. They just lose
Yes.
that motivation. Is that a is
Yes.
that a thing?
It's absolutely a thing. So yeah, this is exactly what we were talking about earlier, where because you get the reward without having to earn it, any thought of getting it's like imagine you grow up in a home that has no sugar. Okay, you've never seen a cookie in your life, but for a week you go to a resort and it's all you can eat and there's cookies everywhere. How do you think you're going to experience that once you come back from the resort? It's going to be a torture to be back in that
Yeah,
house again. You're
yeah,
going to find a way to get those cookies, right? And that's often what happens. The thing that is it's easier. Whatever's easier, whatever's more convenient, we will naturally gravitate towards. The problem is we don't realize not only is that affecting our relationship quality like you're talking about, it actually just affects our maturity as believers. And so when it affects your maturity as a believer, you're not willing to delayed gratification, you're not willing to, follow abstinence, whatever it might be. All of a sudden that starts to affect how you relate with people, your outlook on life, your relationship with God. There's a whole vanishing of your character that takes place the more that you are engaging with something like pornography, and it does become more extreme as time goes on. So I'll use an extreme story. I'm not saying this is going to happen to every single person who watches pornography, but it'll get the point across. In North America, there's a very notorious, very infamous serial killer named Ted Bundy. Do you know that name, Dr. Kingsley? Do you recognize that name?
No.
Ted Bundy? Okay. Ted Bundy there were 29 documented cases of Ted Bundy seducing a woman, kidnapping her, raping her, and then murdering her. 29 documented cases, probably a lot more. And there was a point in time where there was a certain area. He was actually here in Canada. He was Canadian. There was a certain area in Canada where a lot of these were taking place, and so women were actually staying at home more. They weren't going out in public as much because they knew that Ted Bundy was kind of on the loose. He was a very, very dangerous man. So eventually they caught him. They put him in a maximum security prison, and then he went through court, and ultimately they decided they were going to give him the death penalty. So um, it's just a couple days before his he's supposed to be executed, and he has thousands of media requests. Everybody wants to talk to him. He's the biggest name in news at that time. It was a really big story. So Dr. James Dobson from Focus on the Family
Yes.
also pitched an invitation, and he's the only person that got a yes. So Ted Bundy agrees to sit down with Dr. Dobson. And so obviously they're interviewing about his life and how he's processing everything that's happening. And Dr. Dobson asked him the question that everybody wants to know because Ted Bundy was a lawyer. Okay, so he's well educated, he's a
Mm.
well-to-do man. He was not poor. He was not doing this to try to make up for some lack in his life. He had a really good life. And so Dr. Dobson asked him, where did this come from? What do you attribute to your life and the way this thing ended up? And he said he was in the maximum security prison. He said, "You can ask me, and you can ask any of these guys around here, and they'll all tell you the same thing. It all started with pornography."
Wow.
This is back in 1989. This is before internet. And
Wow.
he said what happens is pornography, eventually watching pornography is not enough. And so you have to do something else to find the thrill. And he
Yeah.
said seducing women and doing all the terrible things I did, he said that was the only way I knew how to keep getting the thrill. And I was just trying to increase the stakes. And so I think this is what people don't realize. You think you're trading off like, oh, it's too much work to pursue a woman. I don't want to risk rejection. I don't want to have to get a haircut and tidy
Yes.
myself up. Why would I do that when I can just log into OnlyFans and get whatever I want? But people don't realize you're actually eroding yourself as a man or as a woman to the point that your morality, your sense of what's right and wrong, your risk tolerance, all of these things are being altered every single click, every single time that you watch.
Wow, wow. Because I've heard that before that there's a link between that pornography thing and violence and all kinds of weird desires sexually. That even
Yes.
some people that do eventually get married begin to demand unusual sexual practices with their partner in marriage.
Yes. Yeah, they think it's normal. They think
Wow.
it, so we have this in our clients a lot, like where they say, I have low sexual satisfaction in my relationship. And
Yes.
then we ask more like, okay, well, what's going on? Like, are you not having sex? And it's like, no, we're actually pretty sexually active. I mean, sometimes it's not having sex, but often it's we're sexually active, but she's not willing to do XYZ,
Wow.
and we have to be like, well, XYZ is actually not really normal,
Yes.
dude. Like you think it's normal because it's all you watched, but that's not really typical. And even
Yeah.
some things that maybe are, I don't know, could be, could not be. It's not that crazy for a woman to say, I don't want to engage with that. And if you hadn't watched all that pornography, that would actually be okay. It would actually be okay to hear no, but no one's ever heard no watching pornography, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a yes machine. You
Yes.
get whatever you want.
Yes.
And so then you do have these issues once people get married.
Yes, and you can literally search anything in pornography. If you say policewoman and this one, anything like you said is everything they have it. So when you
Yeah.
build that kind of a mindset, you want to do that in marriage. You just find out it's not gonna.
So I have to comment on this, Dr. Kingsley. So the whole search thing is actually now becoming a very outdated idea. I
Oh,
had a guy on Instagram, this was just last week. He said, I really need your help. And I said, okay, what's going on? So he said, I have a hard time pursuing girls. I'm a little bit shy, and I've tried to date a couple girls, and they've rejected me. Like he kind of had these issues, like girls don't like me, girls just reject me, whatever. So he said, I'm taking pictures of the girls that I've liked, and I'm uploading it to AI, and I'm having AI make videos of me kissing them. Now he said kissing them, but I can almost guarantee you it's probably more than that. And he said, and
yeah.
then I masturbate to those videos. And he said, I know it's wrong. I know I shouldn't do it. But he said, I can't help myself. Like I'm stuck. And
Oh,
Dr. Kingsley, these stories are becoming very, very common now. And so it's not just that you can look up whatever you want, you can actually create it. You can customize it right down to every single detail.
wow.
It's getting pretty scary.
Wow. I never thought of that.
I wouldn't
That
have thought
is
of it either,
something.
but
That is
yeah.
something.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. So
Wow.
this is actually why, for the people that are watching, you actually have such a great opportunity to get this out of your life before this gets really, really dark. Because I do believe that AI is going to deepen people's addictions. It's going
Wow.
to deepen the level of exposure. It's going to increase the level of exposure, and it's going to really erode our relationship quality. Imagine a married man who has watched pornography, isn't getting what he wants sexually. Maybe he's
Yes.
still having sex, but he's not getting what he wants.
Yes.
He can actually go and create the video of what he wants with AI now.
Wow.
And you can just imagine what's going to happen in that marriage if enough time passes. Another really common thing we hear is couples watch pornography to spice up the relationship, right? I'm sure you've
Yeah.
heard of this. I'm sure people
Yes.
come and they do that, right? So what happens? Well, initially, it actually works. The couple has a better
Yes.
sex life. They're more
Yes.
in love with each other. It
Yes.
kind of looks like this was perfect, but it's sort of like um, it's like being thirsty and solving it with alcohol. It initially, because it's a
Yes.
liquid, it feels actually quite satisfying. But
Yes.
alcohol actually dehydrates your body. And it's the same thing. So what happens then is eventually, somewhere down the line, 6 weeks, 6 months, the couple gets into a fight, or the guy makes a move, the woman says no. And so he says, okay, well, no problem. He's now been
Yes.
programmed. He doesn't need her.
Yes. I
He's
have
got the
my whole cast
pornography.
and crew. Yeah.
He's got it all there. And again, you can't win with this stuff. It always brings you back one way or the other. There's very few people in the world who can watch a little bit and it not affect their life.
Yeah.
For most people, it's there, it becomes more pervasive, more prevalent. And if it's not, it will. All it takes is a stressful situation, the heat of a moment, your wife rejecting you or saying no, she doesn't want to have sex, and that's all it takes for you to go down that rabbit hole, and it can be really hard to get out.
Hmm. Wow. I'd like you to answer one question
Yeah.
before we continue. People always ask me that, hey, I'm dating a guy that is addicted to pornography or very seriously into pornography. Should I go ahead or not? So, but before you answer that question, if you are watching us, Sathia has gracefully agreed to do an 8 week um, session for guys in our community here for 8 week. That just 8 sessions really, but it's going to be one a week for the guys that are here. All right, we have a link to register. We're literally doing it. I'll call it free based on the amount it is. It's literally free. There's nothing compared to what it will cost professionally, but we really want to help as many guys as possible. We want to help as many guys as possible. So it's literally free. So they'll put the link out there. There's a special discount as well for those that are signing up in the next 24 hours. After that, there'll be a slight change in the price as well. So they'll put up the link there. If you're a guy and you know this is something you need, literally, I think all guys need it. It just helps you keep you, clean. Especially, but if you have issues with photography, this will help you. And if you're a lady, you are in a relationship with a guy, or you're in marriage with a guy that is addicted to pornography as well, this is also something that they should jump on. So I think they'll put the link, they'll put phone numbers, our phone numbers there. you can sign up. Guys, can you put the link in the comment section or wherever you need to put it so that people can get access to it and let them start to sign up. So if you sign up today, there's a discounted price for you. Um, if you want to sign up later, it's fine, but the course will start on 20 something of March. So, and it's run for 8 weeks, just once a week, but for 8 weeks. Safia is a professional. He has done this. Safia, how many years have you done this?
Yeah, 7 years. 7 years I've been helping guys.
About 7 years. And
Yeah.
you have worked with thousands of men,
Thousands. Yeah.
thousands of men. So this is a great offer. It's something you should not miss. It will be a great blessing. So they've put up the links. Is It's called Porn Purge. So Satya and I are gonna walk you through um, 8 weeks. That's 8 sessions once a week, and how you can beat pornography. So please, ladies, if you have friends, brothers, nephews, uncles, whatever, guys in your life, husband, fiance that are dealing with pornography, get them to sign up. All right. There's a discount for those signing up right now. After today, the price will slightly go up. So please take advantage of it. I think the discount is close to 50% if you're doing it today. All right. So after now, it's going to go up. Okay. So Satya, you can go ahead and answer that question.
Yeah. Remind me, what was the question, Dr. Kingsley? I've
Uh,
forgotten now.
Ladies always ask me that, hey,
Oh,
I'm in a
yes.
relationship with a guy. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. So, okay, I think if you're in a relationship with a guy who's struggling with pornography, the question is, what's the extent of the struggle? So if he's struggling and it's he doesn't think it's a problem, it's not a big deal, or he says, "Hey, I'm gonna get better," but he's not getting better. That's one category. Okay, we'll call that category one. Category two would be you have a guy who has an issue with pornography, but he's working to get it out of his life. And he's seen improvements. So, maybe he's part of a cohort, he's in a program, he's working with a therapist, he's got a coach, he's got whatever. Um, those are two different categories. Category two, I would say as long as he continues to be honest with you and he's making an effort, I don't think it has to be a deal breaker. I don't think it's an issue. Um, I would say the biggest thing is that you guys have agreed on your communication cadence. So does he need to tell you when he slips? Are you going to ask him about it? Do you want him to come to you? Having some of those little boundaries in place can really protect the relationship, and it ensures rather that your honesty is is as high as it can possibly be, wherever you want it to be. And some women don't want to hear about it very often, and some do. So it just depends on where people are at. If your guys in category one, okay, where the struggle is getting worse, it's not getting better, or he's dismissive of it, I personally would say, again, if you're not married, I would say you really need to have a serious conversation of like, hey, if we're gonna get married, I want this dealt with, because I'll tell you right now, if you tolerate it into your marriage will suffer tremendously because of it. And I'll also tell you firsthand, we have had hundreds of guys who were engaged or ready to be engaged, did the program, got free of pornography, and then popped the question, and they have much healthier marriages. They always come back, hey guys, been married, or I'm married now. This is so much better. I'm so glad I got pornography out of my life. We get messages like that all the time. And trust me, if the guy is giving thanks for that, then you best believe that the wife is giving
Yeah.
thanks for that as
Likewise
well.
as well.
Yeah, I think if you're married, okay, if you're married, I think it's a little bit different. I don't think you need to divorce somebody over this, but I do still think that you need to have a very serious conversation and let them know how this is affecting you and draw a line in the sand. If this continues, here's what will happen. And conversely, like here's what I want to see. Here's what I need to see. And I would not put pressure on your guy. He can't quit overnight. If he's this has been in his life for 20, 30 years, you can't expect him to quit overnight, but you can expect him to make some big changes in his life and get the help he needs, join whatever it is he needs to join, do something that shows, hey, I'm being serious about this. He's got to start taking some major action, or you need to let him know, obviously, whatever that consequence may be.
Wow. All right. So, but it's a cause for concern, definitely. So don't just move forward. Make sure something is done because it can alter the whole sexual experience in
Hmm.
marriage. Like we mentioned at the beginning, I can't tell you how many men, young men, I'm not talking about old men, I'm talking about young men that have erectile dysfunction. It means,
Hmm.
for those that don't know what that means, it literally means they can't get their manhood up to have sex. So that is a serious, serious, serious issue. All
Yeah.
right. So please don't let this opportunity slide. Don't miss this opportunity. All right. This is one of those once in a lifetime opportunities. All right. So I would encourage everyone to take advantage of it. Team, you can put phone numbers they can reach. Maybe put phone numbers somewhere so that people that can't get the link from the comment can send a message to these numbers and register. Remember, if you're a lady, if you have a guy in your life, or you know someone, your brother, your friend that is struggling with pornography, let them know about this program. There's a discount today, almost 50%. Take advantage of it. And to be a blessing to you. All right, so we'll take a few questions. So I don't know how you guys would let us know the questions. Type it in the comment section, and I and Sadia will answer the ones we can. And the ones we can't, you're going to come for the program to do it. Satya, tell us how the program is going to go.
Yeah, so I think again, this is something I really appreciate about Dr. Kingsley is we're going to take our time. So eight weeks is plenty of time. A lot of the research shows that your life can change pretty dramatically in 8 weeks. We're going to cover a couple things. So today I talked about how most people, most believers have been kind of lied to. We've been told just grab an internet filter, do the surface level solutions. We're going to talk about what it looks like to get to the roots. And there's three main areas we're going to focus on. So one is building self-awareness. The second is healing your heart and heart transformation. And then the third is shifting your identity. So these are kind of that's sort of the backbone of what we're going to cover. We're also going to talk about, like, I talked about tracking your progress, how that's important. So we're going to make sure everybody has access to the same tracker that any of our clients would get or anybody who works with us. We're going to have a lot of tools, a lot of resources. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about the value of connection. So relationship ends up being a huge part of this conversation because number one is guys need other guys to walk within this conversation. It's a very shameful subject. And when you have other guys, there's incredible freedom. Number two, God has wired us to have romantic relationships. And so we're going to make sure you get tools to improve intimacy in your relationships. And then lastly, your most important relationship is your relationship with God. So we're going to make sure that you feel reconnected to God, that you get plugged back in there, and that if you feel like God could never forgive you, or you feel like God has already turned his back on you, or you're too far gone, we're going to show you actually just how close God is, how excited God is about your freedom, and you can have a thriving relationship with Him very, very quickly from going through the stuff that we're going to cover. So we're really going to get to the roots and make sure that it's as practical as possible while we do it.
All right, all right. So, guys, if you have any questions for Satya, you can ask in the comments or team. I don't know whether you want to highlight some of the questions for us. Nkem is saying she's single. This has nothing to do with single or married. We're talking about how to help guys break free from pornography. So, whether you're married, single, divorced, engaged, as long as you're a guy and you want to stay clean from pornography, this meeting is for you. So it has nothing to do whether you're single or, married. Okay, so I don't know if team you're going to highlight the questions or how we're going to get the questions. All right. Satya, can you see the questions?
Yeah, here we go. Okay, after being delivered in church from the spirit influence, I still have the urge. Oh, this is a really good one. So, um, all right, I'll just say it directly. Deliverance is free, but maturity is expensive. So sometimes we experience deliverance, but the urges aren't there because the urges are actually coming from the heart, the root issues that we've been talking about here. And so deliverance takes care of the spiritual, the infirmities, the afflictions, any of the oppression, obviously. But we also need to be transformed at a heart level. And so you want both. There's nothing wrong with deliverance. That's very, very important. But if you want to see a change in the urges and a real change in how you even view women, In whether, like, again, the goal is not to just not watch pornography. The goal is actually to not lust, like Jesus talked about in Matthew 5. So for that, you need to really embrace the process of maturity, of development, getting to the roots of the issues. So that's why this is a very common experience. And so I would say deliverance is great. You've done the first part. So the next step, be part of what we're doing here for these 8 weeks. This is the kind of process, the kind of programming that you need to experience that maturity and to see that change in those urges.
Awesome, awesome. Next question.
How does one recover from erectile dysfunction after being addicted for years? Okay, so I mean a couple things. So the thing that you have to understand with erectile dysfunction is we're no longer just talking about the brain, we're also talking about the body. So this is actually why even in scripture it says, he who sins, or sorry, not all sins are the same. For he who sins sexually sins against his own body, right? So when we get to the roots of the issue and your brain begins to change, that's step number one. The way that you relate to people, the way that you see women, all of that has to change. And so there's a rewiring process that takes place. That's basically what we're doing for these 8 weeks. We're going to help you rewire your brain. The body sometimes will take longer to respond. So the brain can reset within I don't know, anywhere from really a couple of weeks to about 2 months. For your body to reset, you actually need to learn how to experience physical intimacy again that's not sexual. So this is something that, again, a lot of guys just think physical intimacy and sexual intimacy are the same thing. But that's what pornography kind of teaches you. So the second step after you kind of get to the roots of the issue and you do some rewiring is you need to retrain your body how to experience intimacy that's not sexual in nature, physical intimacy. And so that's kind of step two. So hopefully that helps.
Okay. But again, things like this will be dealt with in full in the session we're having.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's something you
Yes.
should join. Next question. Guys, you can highlight the next question. Oh, Satya, if it's taking long, okay, go ahead.
There we go. Thank you for the privilege. I would like to ask what should be done if both partners yet to be married are struggling for masturbation? The lady in question suffered a sexual molestation as early as 13 years old. Okay, both. So I just want to make sure I understand. They're not married. They're both struggling with masturbation. Okay, well, they both need to do their work. So if they both have sexual sin, they have to do their work, which is what we're talking about here, right? Getting to the roots of the issue, plugging in, getting proper guidance, joining community, all of that. Um, it doesn't really matter if it's masturbation or if it's pornography. The process of getting to the roots of the issue is more or less the same. It's masturbation's offering something for both of them, and probably something different. Uh, the second pillar that I talked about, healing the heart, is where we're going to be addressing early sexual experiences, but also any sexual abuse like this young lady has experienced. So if somebody has an obvious, issue like they were molested or they were sexually abused when they were young, they have to get healing for that. You have to get healing because even if that woman was able to stop masturbating, that trauma is going to manifest some other way. It's going to create issues in the marriage and it'll create issues even in the relationship, even right now. So my biggest recommendation would be that she gets some professional help, some counseling, works through that trauma. And for the guy who's struggling with masturbation, he also needs to figure out why is it in his life and get rid of it before they get married. And so again, this is all the kind of stuff that we're going to talk about in the porn purge. And that kind of process can be very, very valuable. Like I said, we've seen incredible results with guys who are single or are not married but want to get married. They can really have their life change quite dramatically.
Okay, next question.
These are great. Keep the questions coming, guys. I mean, I like this.
Mhm.
My husband watches porn and I'm tired of it. Would having more sex reduce him watching it? No, probably the opposite. It might make him want it more.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not the answer. So, um, I don't know what conversations you've had. Dr. Kingsley, the relationship expert, so I'd love for him to maybe chime in on this one as well. But I would say you probably need to have a more firm conversation with him about how it's affecting you, and just let him know that he needs to take this more seriously. That'd be my main recommendation.
Yeah, obviously he's already you guys are already getting the impact of pornography. All right. It always makes a demand that a human being cannot meet. It takes a whole army to produce those pornographic materials.
Yeah.
So this guy is going to put that expectation on you, one person that is not even a professional. So it never gets satisfied. It's something that is the way it's designed. It never gets you never get tired of or satisfied, from it. So he needs to actually be in this program so that he can clean up his own mind and his desires as well. All right. So he needs to be here. Having more sex will not cure it. Having more sex doesn't cure, it's like having a drug addiction and you say you want to have more food or more. No, that doesn't do anything to the demand, the issue. Pornography and things like that actually affects the way your brain operates. So no physical activity is going to change it except we go back to where that problem is and rewire it. So that's how it's going
Mm.
to work. So, sweetheart, get your husband to be in this meeting. You can even register for him if you want to. He has to be in this event. That's why I know there are a lot of ladies here. That's why I ask some questions that way. So if you need to go and get your husbands, go and get your fiancés to come and register. If not, the sex in your marriage will keep going down and down. He would not be able to get aroused, even if you are stuck naked in front of him. He will not be able to get aroused because it's a different thing going on in his brain. All right. Yeah. Sorry, before I can answer this. The course is for men. All right. Safia's expertise is with men. All right. Even though, I think a lot of women are dealing with this stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we'll do one for women.
Yes. Maybe we'll do one now, a
Yeah.
separate
Do
one
another
for
one.
women.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Somebody's asking that is it those who are not in Nigeria need to benefit? This has nothing to do with Nigeria. It's virtual. All right. So from anywhere, Satya himself is in Toronto as we speak. I'm even in Houston as we speak. So it's virtual. You can be anywhere in the world and join. All right. You don't have to be in any particular city. It's virtual. You can join anywhere in the world. All right.
Yeah, scared for kids. How can parents guide their kids towards staying away from porn? Great question. You're a good parent if you're asking that question.
Mhm.
So I think the most important thing is you want to start talking to your kids about this kind of material, like content, not even pornography specifically, but having conversations about sex in the home as young as you possibly can. Obviously age appropriate. Okay, I have two boys. My oldest is 2 years old. He knows where his male anatomy is. If I ask him where it is, he knows where it is. That's age appropriate. We don't need to go beyond that right now. But the point is, if your kids get experiences with you when they're young, especially before they start developing sexually, like puberty, if they get a chance to talk to you about these things and you're not awkward, you don't get all weird about it, and they feel like they can trust you and have safe conversations around the subject, then when they get a device, you can let them know, hey, part of having this device, you might encounter something called pornography. Here's what pornography is. If you find it, just let me know. You're not going to be in trouble. And they will believe you and they will actually come to you if they've had a history of conversations where they could talk to you about this stuff and it wasn't a big deal. Most parents, and I don't know what the situation is for this person that's asking, most parents are asking it because it's past that point. So they know their kid is struggling and they're not sure what to do. So I think if that's the position you're in, number one, it's not too late to start the conversation. You can start the conversation and still start discussing it with them, but don't shame them. Don't ridicule them for it. They know it's wrong, right? They wouldn't like stay struggling with it if they didn't think it was a big deal. They know it's wrong. So the best thing you can do is connect with them, be there with them, be a guide, be a support, and I would say the second thing is, and this makes parents uncomfortable, but it really is a difference maker, is when you can share about your own struggles, that can really help. Because what most parents do is they don't talk about their struggles. And so then you have a child who's struggling, and then they think, man, my dad, he's never struggled with this before. What's wrong with me? And so
Yeah.
when you let him know, hey, I struggle with this too, it actually de-shames him. It helps him feel less ashamed of himself. Now, here's the catch. It's better if you can not only tell them, hey, I had a struggle, but also here's how I overcame it. And so for fathers, fathers are the other people I'm the most passionate about working with currently because I am a father myself. And so if you're a father listening to this, you need to join so that you can actually get this out of your life and set the example, right? Be the model and show them, hey, I struggle with this, but here's what life looks like free. And so if you don't do this for anyone else, do it for your kids because that can be a real game changer. Those would be my two recommendations. One more recommendation: if you are a parent and your child is like maybe not quite puberty, they're close, they're anywhere between the ages of 6 and 11. There's a book called "Good Pictures, Bad Pictures," and that's an excellent way to sort of have the conversation, but the book sort of does part of the work for you, which I think is excellent because I know sometimes it can be hard to say the right thing or say it the right way. So that's another resource that could be helpful.
Please say the title of the book again.
Good pictures, bad pictures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Tim, you guys should order that book for me as well. I like that title already.
Mhm.
Uh,
Oh, great question. Is masturbation a sin if you are married and your partner is not in the mood for sex? Okay, so let's kind of zoom out a little bit and just talk about the subject of masturbation. Is masturbation sin? So the Bible doesn't talk specifically about this, and this is why sometimes believers get confused. The Bible does talk a lot about sexual immorality, right? Flee sexual immorality. The sexual immoral will not inherit the kingdom of God, et cetera, et cetera. So it's been very helpful for me to think about, okay, if sexual immorality is bad, then what is sexually moral, right? What is sexual morality? What are the things that are actually biblically acceptable? And what we know for sure is consensual sex between a husband and wife. That is what is sexually moral. Anything outside of that is sexually immoral. So let's think about this. You need consent. It needs to be between a husband and a wife, right? And it obviously needs to be in the context of a marriage. So you need to have a marriage in place, and then you need to have a consent. Those are the two
yes.
things that are required for something to be sexually moral. So the problem with masturbation is that number one, masturbation is it doesn't require consent. It doesn't have that validity there. Masturbation is very typically associated with fantasy, right? Fantasy, lust, right? That's the biblical word. It's lust. So I don't know anybody who really can engage with masturbation on a regular basis and not fantasize, not
Yeah.
have some kind of thing to sort of
Imagine.
rev the engine, get things going. Okay. Even if you could do it that way, it is still solo. It is still an individual sexual activity. It is not between husband and wife at
Oh,
that
wife.
point.
Yeah.
And so it is still a problem. So, yes, it's absolutely a sin if you're married and your partner's not in the mood for sex. Um, there are better solutions, okay? If your partner's not in the mood for sex, there are other ways to foster intimacy. And it actually should be okay for your partner to not be in the mood or to say no. That's not a justification for you to go watch porn or masturbate or anything else.
All right. That's amazing because the truth is that it's good the person asked this question. I've also had to deal with a lot of couples where the wife most times will tell me things like, "Oh, sometimes she catches her husband masturbating. Sometimes it's even after they've had sex. After
Wow.
they've had sex, he will still go to the bathroom or somewhere to go and satisfy himself because he can no longer so be satisfied with the normal act of sexual intercourse with their spouse. So when we are asking people to come out for this thing and register, trust me, it goes downhill if you don't deal with this. It will get to the point where it's just going to destroy too many things. So
Mm.
please come out for this. If for any reason you're dealing with things like masturbation, which is usually powered by pornography, or you're dealing with pornography itself, please, this meeting will be a blessing to you, and it's literally almost free. Go register now. They've put up the links. Please put up the links again. Put up phone numbers. Go register now. There's a discount for those signing up today. So please go take advantage of that if discount is something you like. If you don't like, just pay the full thing. But it's really incredibly way lower than it would normally cost just because we want to help as many people as possible. So please let's jump on it. Let's go register. I want to see people that have registered. I want to even see people registering right now as we are here. So go register. I want to see you. signing up. Yes, next question, guys.
Okay, so I've stopped porn. Should I still attend the program? So, okay, that's a great question. So, for me, my standard, and with the guys that I work with, my standard is not have you quit pornography. My standard or my question is, do you still struggle with lust? Right, because that's what Jesus taught about. Jesus did not say like to abstain from specific behaviors sexually. He said, "You've heard it said, right? Do not commit adultery. I tell you, he who looks at a woman with lustful intent has committed adultery in his heart." And that's what Dr. Kingsley and I are really about. We're about you guys becoming the men that God made you to be. We're about your heart being purified and cleansed. So that's the ultimate question: is do you still struggle with lust? If the answer is yes, then you have tremendous value to gain from our time together here. These 8 weeks are going to be amazing, and you will walk out a different person if you apply and practice what we teach you in it. So absolutely, just because you're not maybe struggling with a specific behavior that we've named here, if sexual sin is part of your life, even at a heart level, this is an opportunity for you to get clean and to live a very different life.
Yeah. So please, the thing about this kind of thing is that you don't even have to be someone seriously addicted right now. If you just are always tripped by these temptations and you even do it once in a while, a program like this will still help you keep you, at a more free position, because it's always a slippery slope. That's the issue. So don't take the chance. I can remember one particular month, I handled a lot of men's phones. Maybe I'll be somewhere and somebody finds out, oh, I'm on Instagram, and it says, oh, please give me your Instagram handle, and they open their um, explore page on Instagram and all that. For the few guys I've had to see their explore page. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about on Instagram, the page where you go and search the kind of nakedness I see on those pages. That's how to know, because it's so tricky. Once you watch one, the next time you open that thing, they're going to send you five options. Once you watch that, they're going to send. So the guys these days are literally set up to fail. So a
Mm.
program like this will definitely help you. You don't have to wait till when we use the word addiction. You don't have to wait till you are going crazy kind of thing. No, for every guy really, this meeting is good. It just helps you clean up yourself, put you in top shape. If you're a lady, recommend to your husband, recommend to your fiance. In fact, there's a good question here that says, "I have been struggling for 12 years. I have a girlfriend and I plan to get married this year. Please, how do
Mm.
I go about it? The guilt keeps eating me up."
Hmm. Yeah, well, I think it's exactly what we're talking about. You need to do something dramatic. Um, because if you continue doing the stuff you're doing, you will keep getting the same results. Um, Dr. Kingsley will tell you this even better than me, but I'll tell you from my own life and from helping so many guys quit, marriage is a magnifier. And so if you really love that woman and you really want to have a healthy and a strong marriage, now is the time. Now's your time to act. And what we're putting together is for guys like you. So anybody who's watching this, where there's something down the line. Dr. Kingsley, I don't know if you've seen a lot of this, but we have lots of guys in our community who very unfortunately have lost their jobs because of pornography. They're watching pornography on work devices, that sort of thing.
Wow.
So if you have even something that you're trying to gear up for, like a promotion, an opportunity, you want to see increase in your life, or you have a marriage, a wedding coming down, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Like Dr. Kingsley said, really once in a lifetime, right? For you to get this in this window of time before you go on to the next thing. And again, you don't want to step into greater things that God has for you only to lose it all because you didn't deal with this when you had the chance. And
Mm.
you also don't want to step into marriage with this kind of, it's kind of there, it's kind of not, or maybe it's a full-blown issue. It's been 12 years for you now. This is a chance for you to actually change the trajectory now before you step into those greater things later, so that you don't just attain those great things, but you actually get to sustain them long term.
Thank you. Thank you. Somebody's saying the link on Facebook seems not to be functional. So, team, please either send to the person, or, like I said, also put a number people can reach. Some people might not be able to get the link on social media. Put a number they can send a message to so that they can be helped to register. Remember, there's a discount to register today. All right. And I think everybody should take advantage of that if you register today. All right. Yes, next question, guys.
I can't sleep with porn and masturbate without porn and masturbate. I'm
Yes, I
guessing.
suspect it's
Yeah,
without.
yeah. Yeah. This is pretty common. Because the most popular time to view porn is at night. So, okay, I'll give you something very practical to at least start. Okay, charge your phone outside of your bedroom. All right, charge your phone outside of your bedroom and watch what happens. Now, what you'll find is number one, the urges are going to get crazy at night. They won't go away, and you will start to look for something else. But number two, you will also start to notice that that without your phone there, you'll start to realize that there's actually deeper things. This is not like a lot of people reduce this to just a sex. This is just a sexual issue. It's about sexual energy or libido or whatever. Once your phone is charged outside of your bedroom, you'll find that when you go to sleep, a desire for something else comes up. Connection, comfort, assurance, safety, security, whatever it might be. And so these are some of like the more root issues that we're talking about. So putting your phone on a charger outside of your bedroom, that's going to surface some of those root issues, and then you need to do some serious work to actually address them, like what we're going to be talking about in our time together. So, this is a very common issue. And on the flip side, guys, when you start to quit pornography properly and you really get sexual sin out of your life, you'll sleep better,
Yes.
you'll feel better in the mornings when you
Yes.
wake up. You'll have more energy. We have so many guys. I have one guy. He's run 2,000 miles in the first 2 years since he quit pornography. He's been running ultra marathons, all that kind of stuff, because he's got more energy. He's taking care of his body. He's got more confidence. So he knows that, hey, if I got pornography out of my life, what else can I do? You know, what other mountain can I climb? So again, all this stuff can be on the other side, but yeah, if you're struggling to sleep with pornography, you got to start getting to the roots of the issue and figure out what's really going on.
Yeah. Someone is asking, like, how long does it take to be free from pornography?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we've had guys who start working with us, they quit, they never look back. We've had other guys where it takes a little bit more time. It takes a couple months. Or some guys, they kind of go 1 foot in, 1 foot out,
Yeah.
so they start and then they realize, wow, I actually don't know if I want to give this up. So if you're really committed, it's a great scripture in Proverbs 16:3, commit your works to the Lord and your thoughts will be established. If you're really committed to this process, your life can change around, I would say in a few months, and then it requires the right aftercare to really keep things going and make sure. And usually, once people hit about a year, if they've done the proper work and they got through the roots of the issue, and there's just some maintenance that gets into that year, usually there's no turning back. So, but the key is it's not about do you quit, it's how you quit. That's what
Yes.
matters. That's why
Yeah.
we're going to show you this, how to do this properly, so that those 2 months, your life can change a lot, and then a little bit of aftercare, and a year, 5 years, 10 years from now, you can be walking in incredible freedom.
Someone is asking, can you also talk about the things that can trigger those desires or urges? Please, all these urges that keeps one stuck in that cycle. And also,
Okay.
somebody had asked earlier on as well that they noticed they get tempted more to do it when they're alone. So merge these two and speak into it.
Okay, so tempted when when they want to do it alone,
Yes,
and then trigger.
that they found out that they are always more likely to
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
watch pornography when they are alone. So maybe you can speak to that. It's still connected to this question that has to talk about the trigger, what triggers those urges and all that.
Yeah, for sure. So, I would say what triggers us is not always what we think. So you might think like, oh, I went to the gym, I got triggered, I saw someone attractive. So there are things that you can do in that moment to regulate your body, to reduce the urge and to kind of take the pull from it in the moment. And again, we're going to talk about all this kind of stuff, but I'd be doing you a huge disservice if I just told you, hey, here's how to kind of regulate your system and stop there, because the truth of the matter is that you and I could see the same thing, and I might be triggered and you might not be triggered, or you're triggered,
Yes.
and I'm not. And so there's things that are individual, specific longings of our heart, there's specific sexual experiences, there's things that cause us to be triggered. We have to understand what those things are and start to gain freedom over those areas first before we can start to really, change our temptations or change our urges or change our desires. I think that for when people say like we poll our audiences all the time, like, hey, what causes you to be the most triggered, or what causes you to fall into pornography the most? And people always say boredom, loneliness, and tiredness. We call it the BLT: bored, lonely, tired.
Hmm.
So these are conditions. And if for example, you notice every time I'm alone, I tend to be a lot more likely to view pornography. It tells me one of two things. Number one, pornography is maybe a fake way of you getting connection. And so it's fake connection. And so when you're alone, you feel lonely, you feel maybe a little bit of abandonment or rejection. And so pornography allows you to medicate that pain and maybe even give you a fake sense of connection. Or what it points to is that you don't have any meaningful relationships in your life, and it's why what we're doing here. We're not offering one-on-one services. We're doing things as a group, because when people heal in a group, the healing actually takes place a lot faster, because you start to realize I'm not the only one, so that de-shames you. But number two, you start to connect on a very, very deep level, because we're talking about something that's very personal. And so when you connect on a really personal level and you have meaningful relationships, your heart begins to change, right? So that's why scripture says, he who isolates himself seeks his own desire. He rages against all wise judgment. Or there's another scripture in Proverbs, he who conceals his sins will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them, okay, you can't just confess them, but you also have to forsake them. You have to leave them, will find mercy. And so that's what this whole process is about. And yeah, I would say that the triggers and the temptations that you have, there's things you can do in the moment, but it's really about getting to the roots. That's where you're going to see things start to shift and you not feeling those urges so strongly.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you, Satya. Before you're going to give us your final words. Before you do that, hey, people that are watching, one more time, please go register. There's a discount for today. If you are married, recommend it to your husband. Some of you can even register for him and just send him the link to join. If you are in a relationship as well, it's something that you should encourage your fiance or boyfriend to attend. It will clean up and it enhances the sexual experience in marriage when you're able to clean up, your mind from the fake one that is going on. All right.
Mm.
Those two things usually don't live well together, don't coexist well together. All right. One will eventually snuff out the life, of the other one. So I want to encourage everybody here. Please, let's go sign up. Take advantage of the discount for today. Let's sign up and help us spread the word. So if you know people that are struggling, somebody wrote here now that I've been struggling for 26 years. That I hope the program helps. I believe it will help. I believe it will help, and because the methods are proven, they are solid, and we're all going to work with you on the journey. So please go register immediately. Take advantage of the discount. I'm seeing that a few people have signed up. We need more to sign up as well. This is the link. This is the number. You can send a message to just in case you can't get the link. Just screen grab or photograph or whatever this number. Send a message immediately, and all that. There's a good question here. I want Satya to answer before he gives his final words. But please go sign up right now. I want to get information that you are signing up. I'm waiting for my team to tell me more people are signing up. Go, 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 go now, 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 and sign up. But I'm seeing some very good, interesting questions here. I want Sadia to speak to before he goes. All right. Somebody says, if you are in a relationship, is it compulsory to tell your partner while you are working on it?
Oh, yeah, good question. So I would say, yeah, if you're dating, I think it's good to have this conversation before you get engaged. For some women, in particular, and maybe this is true for guys as well, but I know for some women, this is a deal breaker. So if it's a deal breaker, it's not fair for you to conceal this and then reveal it to her once you're engaged. And so I recommend have the conversation. Now, I personally, some guys say like, well, I'm just gonna let whoever I date, I'm gonna let them know right away, so that way they know what they're getting themselves into. I personally don't think that's necessary. I think it's good to just see if there's a relationship there first, see if there's a connection, see if there's some chemistry. And if it looks like it's starting to get serious, as you start to build that relationship, then I think you have this conversation. You say, "Hey, I want to let you know about some of my past," and you can start to share a little bit about your struggle. And that's my recommendation for how to go about it.
Yeah, I actually remember I once counseled a couple or a lady that she married as a virgin, so it means they did not have sex during the courtship or dating, but that from day one that they got married, the man literally could not have sex at all. Literally could
Wow.
not. All the time they were together, he could he always he was addicted to this BDSM kind of porn that involved violence and things like that. So he couldn't get it up at all with her. So it was a
Mhm.
serious issue, it was a very, very serious issue. So in fact, at a point they had to do IVF to have a child because they could not have intercourse. So I used to call her the Virgin Mary. I used to joke and tell her she gave birth without sex. So
Wow.
it's a serious issue. So people don't
Yeah.
take it seriously. It can really break down your sex life and your marriage because now
Mm,
their marriage, of course, had to end. So it
mm,
can, affect your finances, affect your relationships, affect your marriage. The impact is just too much. So the last question I will let Satya take before he gives his final words. Somebody's
mm.
asking Satya, I would like to ask, why do people do porn in the first place?
Oh, like why do they create it? Is that?
No, as in, why do people get into pornography at all in the first place? Why?
Yeah, well, I think that we know that the enemy, there's an enemy again of our souls, and he wants us to stay stuck. He wants us to struggle. So the fact that people get exposed at such a young age is not a coincidence.
Mm,
I think the enemy knows that if we can fall into this at a young age, we'll stay addicted. We're more likely to engage with it into our adult years, and
mhm,
obviously we're talking today about how that affects your relationships, your sexual experiences, your connection with God, even your ability to produce and to earn income and everything else. So I think people stumble upon it very innocently. I've been seeing in the chat today people sharing their stories about it happening by accident. It wasn't actually intentional. But I do believe on the enemy side, he knew exactly what he was doing, and these forces are working to get us struggling so that we're addicted later. So I think that's why, and I think as well because like we're talking about, pornography is so stimulating and it's so addictive
yeah.
that this is just it's impossible to resist once you've had exposure to it,
Yes.
unless you have the right tools, unless you have the right healing experiences. It's impossible to resist, and that's why people continue to struggle more and more afterwards.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think it's because the devil is an expert at using legitimate needs and desires. That's what he
Hmm.
always does. The devil
Hmm.
cannot tempt you with something that will not be a temptation. All right. He has to tempt you with something that you ordinarily genuinely need. So if you see the temptations of Jesus, for instance, just was fasting, he said, turn stone to bread. That is a very legitimate need, bread at the time. Things like human beings need some level of self-pride and approval as well. There's a healthy level of, approval. So he will use those things and pervert it. It's like the need for music, the need for food, the need for, companionship. They are all legitimate needs. But what the devil would do, he will bring a perverted version of that thing, and hook you up and trip you up. So that's what happens. Every human being has a natural desire for sex. God built us that way. That's why, if you've been watching some of my videos, I've been trying to tell young people to also try to get married on time, because those hormones, as they keep raging and everything, all the devil needs to do is to give you one picture and you will just go down that rabbit hole. I've seen
Yeah.
somebody mention it in the comment section that they just out of curiosity watched one video, and the algorithms have been showing them, back to back, and they're saying, "How can I stop it?" The way you stop it is stop watching out of curiosity. You cannot watch anyone. Don't watch it. Keep watching the kind of things you want to see more on your timeline. Then those things will start to come. If not, they will keep bombarding you with those explicit images and all those girls that are shaking and doing. In fact, Satya, I saw OnlyFans sponsoring a sporting event. I didn't know
Yeah.
they are
Yeah,
that
they're
public.
sponsoring. They're actually sponsoring sports teams.
Yes, I didn't
Yeah,
know that they had gotten that brazen about
it's
it.
crazy. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
It's horrible. And I know it's a $1 billion enterprise,
Yeah.
because they are selling the best businesses in the world are businesses that are selling genuine human natural needs. Things like food. There's no day food is going to go out of fashion because human beings need food. So
Yeah.
that's how sex is. There's no day sex is going to go out of fashion because
Yeah.
people need that sexual connection. They do
Yeah.
need it. So the devil perverts it, give them the one that's not in line with what God wants, promises them fulfillment, only that at the end is a setup. You now find out it doesn't give you fulfillment. And by that time, you are addicted, all right,
Mm.
to it. So please, everybody, make sure you go out and come out, register immediately. There's a discount for today. And if you know any guy around, get them to sign up as well. Satya, do you have any final words and encouragement for people out there to join with
Yeah.
you?
Well, yeah, I mean, for those of you that are still watching us with us, you're here for a reason. None of this stuff is by accident. And one thing that I always tell the guys that I'm working with is we think that knowledge is power, right? And so we watch a live stream, we get some information. I see you guys writing my stuff, some of our stuff in the comments. So you're retaining the information. That's amazing. But I would like to suggest something different. Knowledge is potential, but it's knowledge with action.
Yeah.
That's real power. The Bible says, James wrote, that faith without works is dead. And so you can have all the knowledge and all the information in the world until you actually act on it, until you put it into practice, it has no power. It doesn't bring any transformation or any change in your life. And so that's why we're putting this 8-week cohort together. We want to give you a chance to not just get knowledge and some cutting edge information. We want to teach you how to actually practice this, how to not just be hearers of the word, but actually be doers of the word. Because even though faith without works is dead, faith with works is deadly. And this is a chance for God to set your life on fire in your walk with Him, in your relationships, especially your marriages, whether you're engaged, dating, whatever it might be. But even in your calling, there's some callings and some destinies that are on hold because of this. And you get a chance now to step into freedom, purpose, and integrity like never before. So please join us. We're going to have a lot of fun together. It's going to be absolutely transformational. I've seen God do incredible things, and we've made it as easy as possible. We have all 8 weeks programmed. We're bringing all the people together so that you have a supportive community. All you need to do is just take some action now. Don't just settle for the knowledge. Take some action. Join us, and I hope to see you there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Satya. If you guys appreciate Satya, please let him know in the comment section how much you appreciate. This was very enlightening and very refreshing. I am Satya did a YouTube video as well that will be out this week. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch it. Also, you can go follow his page. If you go to my page, you'll see I've collaborated with him as well. Go follow his page and be a blessing as much as you can. Let him know you appreciate him in the comment section. Please, please, please. And if there's any wife here, if you're a wife here, Pastor Mildred is doing something called Wife 101. It's a mentoring thing she does every year for wives. All right. No matter how long you've been married, as long as you're a wife or you are very close to your marriage, it's a mentoring thing you need to attend. It covers every aspect of a woman's life, parenting, your mental health, your finances, how to understand your husband, how to relate to your husband, everything that involves being a wife. All right. So, guys, I don't know if you have the poster of the Wife 101. Please put it, all the women here that are wives, please go sign up for Wife 101. And if you're a single lady, Pastor Mildred has BFF for single ladies as well. These are mentoring programs that will bless you so much. I encourage you go watch them as well. So, guys, see you in the session. We're going to start somewhere towards the end of March for the porn program, Porn Purge. You don't want to miss it. It will clean up your life. It will really, really help you. Trust me. It's such a great investment. So thank you for joining us. Satya, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you
Thanks
in
for
the
having me.
class as well. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. They'll put the links one more time and put the phone numbers one more time. Um, Remember to recommend it. Sign up if you're a guy, and we will see you in class. So that's the link there. That's the number to reach there. Reach out to them. They'll be a blessing to you. Yes, I'm getting information. Some people are signing up. Go sign up right now. Let's get it going. Tell people as well. Tell people as well. We'll like that. Tell people as well who like that. Thank you, Sadia. This was very good. I enjoyed myself.
Thanks for having me.
All
Yeah, me
right.
too. Yeah, it's gonna
Thank
be
you.
fun. All
All
right, God
right,
bless, guys.
everybody. God bless. So they will post this on YouTube. You can go watch it and recommend to people as well. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Team, you didn't put the Wi-Fi on and BFF. If you could put